Let's cross to Jerusalem now and bring in Jonathan Spire from the Middle East Forum. And he joins us live. You can see live pictures at the same time of what's unfolding in Gaza. Thanks for joining us, Jonathan. And I suppose I'll start with those live pictures from Gaza. We are seeing plumes of smoke, probably 5 or 6 different plumes of smoke in Gaza now. Are we right to presume this is the result of rocket attacks from Israel?
Yeah, Chris, not necessarily rocket attacks. It could well be the result of air action. That's to say, raids from Israeli aircraft, which have been pretty much ongoing over the Gaza Strip over the last 24 hours. As you're probably aware, around 360,000 Israeli reservists have been mobilized. Some of those, of course, are on the northern border to deter Hezbollah from entering this fight. But a large number of them are also mustering along the Gaza border. So, yeah, there's certainly ongoing Israeli action now against the Hamas Authority in Gaza, and I suspect that it will intensify in the days ahead, not only from the air, but probably at a certain stage also from the ground.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about the ground because we could expect some perhaps special forces raids to try and get to hostages if they know where they are. But eventually, do you think we will see a full ground incursion by Israel into Gaza to essentially clear the place out from terrorists house by house, which will be a long and dangerous process?
I think that something like that is going to take place. I just don't think that, an event of the magnitude of what's just taken place in terms of the murder of, we're now, the figures are not yet complete, but we're up to 900 Israelis murdered, the majority of them civilians. So, that cannot go unanswered. And I think without a doubt, you don't mobilize over 300,000 reservists in order to just keep them hanging around. And you can't keep them mobilized forever, of course, because of the damage to the economy and so on. So, yes, I think those people have been mobilized and they are going to be deployed. And I think they will be deployed in a ground operation, a large ground operation into Gaza. What exactly the goals of such an operation will be, I think remains slightly more ambiguous. Prime Minister Netanyahu gave a speech last night. There have been comments from senior ministers, of course, but nobody has yet clearly defined, for example, that the goal of such an operation would be the ending of Hamas rule in Gaza. Hamas, of course, have ruled in Gaza exclusively now for 16 years. So that goal has not been defined. So it's not quite clear yet what exactly the goals and parameters of such an operation will be, but that something along the lines of a major ground operation will take place in the days ahead, I think is very, very likely.
Does this mean, though, in the end, there's a lot to unfold here? Lives are in the balance. If such an operation happens, there'll be Israeli armed forces who will lose their lives, as well as Hamas, of course, and innocent civilians will get caught up in it. It's horrific. I don't want to underestimate all that stage. But in the end, if they can clear Hamas out of Gaza, does this mean that the Palestinian people there are liberated? Do most of them support Hamas, or will they be relieved to have that terrorist operation taken off their shoulders? And does it mean that Israel will then have to occupy Gaza for the foreseeable future?
Right. Well, these are very good questions, and I think there are no easy answers to them. With regard to support for the Hamas Authority, look, Hamas has brought impoverishment and it's brought Israeli military retaliation down on the people of Gaza. But we should remember the last time when the Palestinians were able to have a vote, which was in 2006, when there was an internationally observed free election in both the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, Hamas were the victors. And I think that, we should not underestimate the extent to which the kind of sentiments that exist in Hamas also exist among the Palestinian public. I don't think we should make the mistake of thinking, that this is just a dictatorship imposed from above and the people are longing to be freed from it. I think on the contrary, they do have considerable support, which means that if the Hamas Authority were to be destroyed, then yes, as you mentioned, Israel faces a very clear dilemma, because then there is the possibility of reoccupation of the area against the will of the population, who may well then mobilize in revolt against it. So if the Hamas Authority is to be destroyed, very serious questions would then remain regarding what authority then administers the Gaza Strip.
Jonathan, we don't have much time left. Final answer, the horrific question, what will be the fate of the hostages?
I mean, it's a tragic situation in which we now think it's 160 people, or 130 to 160 people are inside there. If Hamas have said they're going to execute one hostage for every time Israel carries out an air raid without prior warning. So I'm afraid the fate of those people tragically really does hang in the balance right now. And unfortunately, one cannot say with any degree of confidence that they'll be returning home anytime soon. And tragically, maybe some of them we won't be seeing again.
Just terrific. Jonathan, thanks so much for joining us. Stay safe.
Thanks, Chris.